All right, well, hello everybody. Thank you for being here today for our updated basics of Kentucky Public Library Certification 2024. So today's webinar is brought to you by the Kentucky Department for Libraries and Archives and is funded in part by the Institute of Museum and Library Services, IMLS. Today's webinar is going to provide an overview of the different certification levels offered by KDLA, the application process, your annual summations, how to earn continued education credit, and a brief overview of the online learning portal. So with us today, you have me, myself, Sarah Patterson. I am one of the continuing ed consultants for KDLA. We have Tricia McCallum, who is our training specialist, who is going to help moderate our chat. We also have Alicia McGrath. Oh, Alicia, were you saying something?
Then won't come in.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I think somebody's not on mute. If you guys could all mute, that would be awesome. All right, and then so Alicia McGrath is here. She's our continuing education supervisor, and she's just the head guru of all things certification. So she's going to also help moderate the chat, and she's going to keep me in line. We have a lot of people in here today, so if you have a question, Tricia and Alicia will be able to help you with that. Finally, the webinar is going to be recorded live and uploaded to our library development YouTube later. So if there's anything that you miss, you're going to be able to watch it again. And also the PDF of this webinar, along with the most updated copy of the certification manual, are available as course handouts under PDFs and slides. And I encourage all of you to print your own copy of the certification manual because everything we cover today is going to be in that certification manual. All right, so let's get started. So this is the learning path we're going to take today. We're going to talk about the different types of certificates and different requirements for each, the different ways that you can apply and renew your certificates. We're going to briefly talk about the online portal. We're going to talk about annual summations, your LARs or your learning activity reports. We're going to go over a few common questions that we get a lot here at KDLA, and then we're going to give you some ways to contact us. So you'll have a chance to ask your own questions in the chat, but if you have a question that's really specific about your own certification journey, you can always email us at any time, and then we'll be able to help you with your specific case. So let's look at a top-level view of certification. First, I want to say that Kentucky has a very robust and long history of library certification. Librarians in Kentucky have been certified since 1938. We're making sure that we have qualified, certified people working in libraries, and that allows the public to put their faith in the library profession. It allows Kentucky to offer quality library services to the public because you all are trained. When people walk into your library, they know they're going to be speaking to someone who is not only knowledgeable about the library profession, but is trained to help them with whatever their information need is. Also, it happens to be the law. So, according to KRS 171.260, oh, am I muted? Oh, okay. No library shall have in its employ in the position of librarian or any other full-time library service position a person who is not holding a certificate. So if you are just started out at the library, we can get you a certificate. There's all kinds of different things that we can do. But who needs to be certified? All full-time or part-time library directors, assistant directors, branch heads, department heads, managers, supervisors, and bookmobile librarians need to be certified. Any other full-time employee providing library service also needs to be certified. When should you get certified? You should get certified if you are a brand new library staff and you do not have a certificate. You should get certified if you are a part-time staff and you become full-time. And you should get certified if you have been promoted to a different higher position that requires a higher level of certification. So I think that somebody in our chat mentioned that they went from, oh yeah, it was Krista actually. She said she was a teen programmer, but now she is a youth services manager. So she's going to need a different certificate. If that happens to be your certification journey as well, you'll also need a new certificate. And how do you get certified? You can just follow our instructions online, or you can contact us and we will talk about it. So, types of certificates. KDLA offers 5 different types of certificates, and some certificates offered have multiple levels. What certificate you need depends on your role at your library, your job duties, and will sometimes be your library director's preferences or your library board's preferences. We offer a part-time certification program that has 4 courses that are a sort of crash course into being a librarian. This certificate is voluntary and costs nothing, but if you've never worked in a library before, it is a great primer on how to handle difficult customers, how to fulfill patrons' information needs, which is, our primary goal as librarians. We offer 4 different professional certificates and 3 different paraprofessional certificates, each with their own required levels of education and work experience. We offer a trustee certificate for library trustees. Library trustee certification is also voluntary. However, the library board itself can require that their trustees be certified. We also offer a temporary certificate, which can be very confusing for people. Because it's a state law that full-time library staff be certified, oftentimes the library will have hired someone who does not have their MLIS, they've never worked in a library before, and they still have to be certified. So if you are hired for a position and you do not meet the minimum work hour requirements or education requirements, we can issue you a temporary certificate. That gives you 5 years to take library science courses or college courses or earn your degree or earn some education certificates or even just get your work experience hours. But we'll talk more about temporary certificates later on because they can be a little tricky. So first, let's go over some definitions. We're going to talk about job-related educational contact hours. This is any time spent learning that relates to your job. If you take an undergraduate college class that's 1 credit, you will earn 20 educational contact hours with KDLA. Every graduate college credit is 25 educational contact hours. So that means if you take a 3-credit undergraduate college class, you will earn 60 educational contact hours total. That's what we get most commonly are the undergrad college classes. So asynchronous courses are usually 1-to-1, and we'll talk more about those. If you take an asynchronous course through something like Library, Juice Academy, and it's 14 hours, you'll earn 14 hours with us. We're going to talk about library work experience hours. That is any paid work done in a library, part-time, full-time, any kind of paid work that you've done in a library, that counts. It doesn't have to be all at the same library either. And we're going to talk about asynchronous courses. These are just courses that are not live, and they're usually offered through a third party like Library Juice Academy or ALA's e-learning. All right, so let's see. So you're gonna hear those words a lot, but that's just what they mean. Okay, so this next section, we're gonna go through our initial certification, and when we mean initial, we just mean you are for the first time applying for your certificate. The opposite or the other side of initial is renewal. So this is not for people who are ready to renew their certificates. This is just for people who are trying to get their first time certificate. You just started at a library and you need something. So we have 4 types of professional certificates, which is different depending on what you need. So if you are a library director who serves more than 15,000 people in your county, you will need a Professional 1 or a Professional 2 certificate. The Professional 1 certificate requirement is just a master's degree in library science from an ALA accredited school. If you are not a library director, if you are just someone who was hired on to do reference or circulation stuff, and you have your MLIS, we will still issue you the Professional 1 certificate. But library directors are required to have the Professional 1 certificate or the Professional 2 certificate. If you have your master's degree in library science from a non-ALA accredited school, but you also have, you can get the Professional 2, but if you have a master's degree in anything, but you also have 15 graduate hours of library science, you can have your Professional 2. So sometimes we get library directors who might have a master's degree in business. If they get 15 graduate hours in library science to go with their business masters, and they are qualified for the Professional 2. A Professional 3 and 4 certificate are required for library directors who serve a population of less than 15,000. And then you can see the requirements there. Professional 3 requirements, you have to have a bachelor's degree and you have to have 21 college credit hours in library science. Or you can have a master's degree in anything, but you need at least 15 graduate or undergraduate credits in library science. So the difference between the Professional 2 and the Professional 3 is that the 15 credits in library science can come from your undergrad credits for the Professional 3, but must be graduate credits for Professional 2. For the Professional 4 certificate, you need a bachelor's degree, you need at least 9 graduate or undergraduate hours in library science, and you need 6 hours in a job-related field of study. Or you need a master's degree in anything with 6 graduate and undergraduate hours in library science and 3 hours in a job-related field of study. I know that is a lot and that is very confusing. So if you have any questions as a library director or an assistant library director, please feel free to contact us and we will take a look at your transcripts and work with you and see what's going on. All right, so our paraprofessional certificates. Let's take a look. So there are 3 different types of paraprofessional certificates, and the first one is by far the most complicated. So the Paraprofessional 1 certificate is required for assistant directors, branch and department heads, managers and supervisors, and some bookmobile librarians. So let's talk about that real quick. If you are a bookmobile librarian who is basically the head of bookmobile outreach, you are required to have the Paraprofessional 1 certificate. So these are folks who are planning outreach programs for the community. They're doing circulation duties on the bookmobile, and they're basically managing the bookmobile. If you are a bookmobile librarian, but your only job duty is to bring books to homebound people in the community, you are not planning outreach programs, you are not supervising other staff, you're not doing collection development, then you can get away with a Paraprofessional 2 or 3 certificate. The level of certification for bookmobile librarians is at the library director's discretion. So obviously our library directors want their staff certified at the highest level possible, but it's up to them to evaluate the job duties of their bookmobile staff and determine which level is appropriate for their job. You might also have multiple people working on your bookmobiles, and maybe you only want, the head bookmobile librarian to have their Paraprofessional 1, whereas everyone else can get away with a 2 or 3. So for the Paraprofessional 1 certificate, oh, it highlighted. So for the Paraprofessional 1 certificate, you need your high school diploma, and you're going to need 360 job-related educational contact hours. You'll need 144 of those in library science and 72 of those in human resources or management. You also need to have 4,000 hours of library work experience. So remember, that's any paid experience working in a library. So this is very important. If you are applying for initial certification, so this is your first time applying and you are not renewing a certificate, then these courses we're talking about, or these contact hours, these 360 contact hours, must be at least 10 hours in length or longer at a time. So to clarify, you cannot take 144 hours in webinars in library science and call that good. Each course that you take needs to be at least 10 hours in length or longer for this. So that would be 14.4 10-hour courses in library science. So I do want to say on our certification website, we have a list of places where you can find those courses that are 10 hours in length or longer. Some are free and some are not, but we do tend to get people who take a lot of webinars and assume that counts, and it doesn't actually. So for the Paraprofessional 2 certificate, you need a high school diploma. You need 288 job-related educational contact hours. You need 4,000 hours of library work experience. And for the Paraprofessional 3, you need your high school diploma, 144 job-related educational contact hours, and 2,000 library work experience hours. So Paraprofessional 2 and 3 certificates are often great options for library staff who may have started a degree but never finished for whatever reason. Oftentimes we can use your college transcripts, whether you finished or not, to pull job-related educational contact hours from, and we can get you certified for the Paraprofessional 3 level. So the courses we take off of your college transcripts do have to be directly job-related, and you have to have passed the course. Also, the time since you took the class can't be longer than 10 years in most cases, and it's actually much shorter for IT or tech courses. If you're not sure what will count and you're applying for the first time, please just get a hold of us, and we can take a look at that. Sometimes we have people applying for their temporary when in fact they qualified for a paraprofessional 3 or 2 certificate, and they just didn't realize it. Yes. So we have any questions so far? I know the paraprofessional certificates and the professional certificates can be kind of lengthy. I also want to point out that let me go back. For the professional certificate, you'll see that the professional 4, the 3 and 4 certificates require a bachelor's degree. There are some people who need a paraprofessional 1 certificate, but it would be much faster for them to get a professional 3 or 4 certificate. It would be much faster for them to take, 9 hours of library science courses at a local college, which is 3 classes, rather than having to go through and get 144 hours in library science. So sometimes the certificate that you need, it's like on an airplane where the exit may be behind you, the closest exit might be behind you. It might actually be faster for you to get a higher certificate than what you need. But again, if you have any questions, just go ahead and contact us and we'll help you figure it out. So temporary certificates, these can be quite tricky. The purpose of the temporary certificate is to provide a grace period for employees who may start their new position without the education or library work experience hours to qualify for one of the certificates that we just talked about. This certificate is not meant to be the final certificate your staff receives. It is only good for 5 years and it is not renewable. So we want our public library staff as highly certified as they can be because, again, this instills trust in the public that they're reaching qualified people. This certificate is good for only 5 years, and you can't renew it. So I do want to say that if you're in one library position, for example, you're a circulation clerk, and you only needed a paraprofessional 3 certificate for that position, but then you're hired as like the circulation manager. Well, now you're a manager and you need a paraprofessional 1 certificate, but you don't have the education required for that. So because you're changing positions, you can apply for a temporary certificate, and that will give you another 5 years to get those qualifications. So every time you change positions in a library where you need a new level of certification, something that you don't already, some requirement you might not already have, you can apply for a temporary certificate, and that gives you that extra 5 years to meet that certification requirement. All right. So I broke all the rules with PowerPoint on this slide. I know it's very busy, but it's all important information, and we're going to go through it because this is one of the most common problems that people come across when they're applying for their first-time certificate. So this is very important information for staff applying for the first time. If you are if you need a paraprofessional certificate, the types of courses that count are asynchronous courses and college-level courses. Every asynchronous course you take must be 10 hours total or longer in length. So webinars do not count. Staff trainings do not count. Conferences and seminars do not count. None of that counts for your paraprofessional certificate. If you choose to send in your annual summation, which we'll talk about, and it has staff trainings, conferences or seminars, and webinars on it, but you still have your temporary certificate, we can't apply anything to a paraprofessional certificate. None of that counts. It has to be a course that is 10 hours total or longer in length. If you need a professional certificate, the only thing that counts are college level courses. No asynchronous courses, no webinars, no staff trainings, no conferences or seminars. So if you need your paraprofessional certificate and you go on Library Juice Academy and you take, HR 101, that's not going to count for your professional certificate. You can get your college level courses from any college, but that's all that counts. Calista, an asynchronous course is just a course that's taken that's not live, and they're often offered through third parties. So ALA eLearning offers async courses. They might offer like a 2-week-long course in reference. Or you can, Library Juice Academy has a lot of them. They might offer like a 20-hour course in cataloging, that kind of thing. However, they're not college level courses. For your temporary certificate, what counts? Absolutely nothing. Temporary certificates do not earn continuing education hours. While you're holding a temporary certificate, your only goal is to earn enough work experience hours and education hours to qualify for a professional or paraprofessional certificate. So there's nothing to even do when you have your temporary certificate. You don't need to send us anything until you have the right number of educational hours and work experience hours, and then you will apply for a professional or paraprofessional certificate. And temporary certificates always trip people up. All that's doing is it's just a grace period certificate. It's just a placeholder until you have what you need. Okay, so hopefully that clears things up. Again, if you're confused, go ahead and contact us, and we'll be happy to work through that with you. So part-time certificates. Our part-time certification program is for any staff working less than 100 hours on average per month who aren't already required to be certified. So for example, part-time directors still need to be certified at a professional 1 or 2 level regardless of your status. However, other people, if you're not required to be certified, this might be a great option. This is really good for part-time staff who come into your library who have never worked in a library in their life. Maybe they're awesome people, but they have just never worked in a library. There are 4 courses that they will need to take, and they all relate directly to library services. The courses are customer service basics, reference basics, solving difficult situations in the library, and readers advisories basics. There is no fee or penalty for part-time certification, and it's voluntary unless you've been voluntold by your library director to do it. Many folks who come in a library have never worked in a library before, so these are 4 really great courses just to introduce them to library basics. And of course, our part-time staff are also welcome to take any other courses that you feel that they might need or that they feel they might need, but we can certify them for part-time. Let's see. All right, so trustee certificates. Our library trustee program is for public library trustees who need to fulfill their legal responsibilities to their libraries and their communities. So there are 4 courses that are that you're required to take in order to be certified with the trustee certificate, and they nicely cover the role and responsibilities of a library trustee. So sometimes people are hired on as library trustees and they don't realize there are legal obligations that they need to fulfill. So this is a great option for them. There are no penalties for library trustees who are not certified. There is a $20 fee, which goes into sort of a trustees fund, but the program is voluntary unless it's required by your library's board of directors. These certificates, unlike all the other certificates, are only good for 4 years. So every other certificate we have is good for 5 years. Library trustee certificates are good for 4 years. If you are a library trustee in this training, this is also a really great way to meet your library's regional consultant. The 4 courses required are library trustee and director roles, conducting a library board meeting, governance of Kentucky Public Libraries, and strategic planning and library advocacy. You're also required to meet with your regional consultant and your library director, which I don't know why you wouldn't do that anyway if you're a trustee. So it's good for that. All right, does anyone have any questions about initial? Oh, we do have some questions. Okay, Alicia and Tricia are going to take care of that, and we'll just keep on trucking. All right, so that is all initial certification. That's for our folks who do not have a certificate at all and need something. They're just not sure what to get. So now we're going to talk about renewal certification. So renewal certification is for folks who already have a certificate. Their 5 years are up, and they just got to keep going. So once you have a certificate, once we issue you your initial certificate, either paraprofessional or professional, you have 5 years to earn your continuing education credits. For professional certificates, you need 100 continuing education credits every 5 years. So that's 20 a year if you're keeping score. For paraprofessional 1 certificates, you will need 75 continuing education credits every 5 years. And for paraprofessional 2 and 3, you will need 50 continuing education credits each year. Temporary certificates do not earn continuing education credits. So if you have a temporary certificate and you take 50 webinars, that is fantastic because you have learned 50 new things, but that's not being applied toward anything. So part-time certificates are not required to earn continuing education credits, but we strongly encourage you part-timers to keep on learning new things. So, oh, I'm a liar. See, I knew I was going to do that. So for part-time, you need 15 continuing education credits every 5 years. And it can't be the same courses as the original part-time certification courses. Trustees can renew their certificates every 4 years, and you need 8 credits every 4 years. And they cannot be the same courses as the original trustee certification courses. So when you need to renew your certificate, if you've earned all of your continuing education credits, so you've got all 100 CE credits, but it's only been 3 years, you should renew. If your 5 years is up and your certificate's about to expire, you should renew. If you change job roles and need to be certified higher or want to be certified lower, because that sometimes does happen, you should renew. So remember, if you change job roles and need to be certified higher, but you don't have the required education or worked hours, go ahead and apply for a temporary certificate, and that gives you 5 years to figure things out and get what you need. So let's see. If you are initially certified, so you need that 50, 75, or 100 continuing education hours every 5 years, just like we talked about. But what counts for continuing education, right? We have so many requirements for our initial certificates, and they're kind of strict. But for continuing education hours, once you are certified, a lot of stuff counts. There are so many different things. You can take college courses if you want, either graduate or undergrad. They can be at any college or university, including junior and community colleges. You can serve on a board or committee at your library or a university library. You can present instructional training. So if you want to give your own webinar, please feel free to contact us, and we'll get you some CE credits for that. You can attend a library institute. You can write a book. You can write a review. You can write an article. You can write a book chapter. You can edit a book or journal. You can watch webinars. You can attend conferences. Some of our staff training days, those all-day ones, those count. So if you're stuck and you need opportunities, we have a list of them on our continuing education website. And you can also find them in the certification manual on page 39. This white page, that's actually a screenshot right from our certification manual. Online, though, you can get the direct links. So if you need funds to take continuing education courses, you technically don't need to pay for them, but if there's a course you really want and you need some scholarship money for that, we do offer scholarships and grants that you can apply for throughout the year. We have one open right now, actually, the Library Science Tuition Scholarship. So lots of opportunities. All right, so we're going to move into discussing the online portal, but this is not going to be a comprehensive coverage of the online portal. We'll probably have another webinar for that another day. This is just going to be information related to getting certified and how to do that through the online portal. Sometimes the online portal can be a little tricky. If you have any problems with the online portal, please feel free to contact us, and we can either give you alternate ways to do what you're doing, or we can try and help you troubleshoot. Okay, so the online portal KDLA uses looks something like this. The website's here at the top, https://kyeducourses.ky.gov. And if you forget that, that's also on our website. So this is what it looks like. If you send in an application by mail or email, we are going to create an online portal account for you. If we create an online portal account for you, we will email you with the information to log in, because your password will be a temporary generic password. If you are applying for a temporary certificate, you may not get an email with any login information because, again, the temporary certificate is just a placeholder. So there's no reason for you to really log in to take webinars or anything with a temporary certificate. If you decide to pay for your certification online, you can do that, and you can create an account for yourself. If you don't have an account, you'll need to click the blue Register Here button, and then you can use your personal or work email to sign up. We prefer work, but I know that some libraries don't have work emails, so then go ahead and just use your personal email. Once you sign up and log in, you're going to see a screen that looks something like this without the purple numbers. Those purple numbers are just for you to look and listen as I describe what's going on this screen. So yours is going to look slightly different based on the number of webinars you signed up. I signed up for 5, just to give you an example of what things look like. So in area 1, if you look at the purple one on this picture, you can see Those are the active courses you're signed up for and how far you are in each course. On the right-hand side of that purple number 1, you'll see the courses that you've completed or dropped. You'll see I have a 0% for one because I actually dropped that class. If you look at area 2, you will see your requested credits. You are able to use the requested credits button when you upload your annual summations. So here you'll be able to see if your annual summation was accepted. You'll see that I requested 435 credits. I denied myself that. And then you'll see the notes. So sometimes you'll get an email that says, your requested credits were denied, and you'll immediately email us and say, why were my credits denied? But if you log in, you'll see in the notes exactly why it was denied. I just put no ma'am, but we'll give you something more than that if we have to deny our credit requests. So number 3 at the very bottom, this is the current credential you are certified for. So you can see I'm renewing my Professional 1 certificate. That means I already have my Professional 1 certificate, and I am getting my 100 renewal credits over the next 5 years. You can see that I have until May 1st of 2029 to get those credits. You can see I need 100 and I've earned 19, and that I am in compliance, which is perfect. In area 4, you can register for a course that will count towards whatever certificate you have. You can just click that register for course button right there, or you can click it on the far left-hand side where you see the little dashboard. In area 5, you can view your transcript. That will have a list of all the coursework you've done in the online portal, and you'll be able to see when we add your annual summation credits to your account. So if you turn in an annual summation for 25 credits, and you're like, did they accept that? What is going on? You can view your transcript and it will show up right there. So the transcript will show how many credits you need and how many you've earned, but you can also see that in section 3 down below too, if you don't remember where the transcript is or don't want to do extra clicks. Area 6 is the external files upload button. When you need to send us your transcripts, your renewal applications, or upload your initial applications, you can use this external files button. So to recap, use the request credits button for your annual summation and the external files button for all of your paperwork and applications or anything else that you need to upload and send to us. All right. Oop, did I go too far? Let me see. Nope, we're good. Okay. So this, if you click register for course, you'll see on the left-hand side I've circled in yellow the register for course button. If you click on register for course either on the left sidebar or the little register for course button near the name of your certificate, you will be taken to a screen that looks like this. Webinars that are archived will be kept here. So this webinar will show up here later on. And all of these webinars are free to take. At the very top, you can sort by competencies, which is really handy. If you're a youth services librarian and you only want youth services webinars, go ahead and click on all competencies and you can choose youth services. And then all the webinars that have that tag will pop up. So if you are trying to apply for a certificate online so that you can pay online, you can also do that. If you look at where I've circled with the yellow circle, it says KDLA certifications. It normally says categories, so let me go back. You'll see it says all categories now, but if you click on that drop-down menu, you can switch to KDLA certifications. There, you're going to find all the certificates we offer and the different requirements for each. So this is the screen that you'll see. You can see there's trustee certification courses, paraprofessional 1 initial applications, paraprofessional 1 renewal applications. So you are welcome to do these online. If the application costs, if there's a fee for that, you'll see that it says there's a little blue bar that says $20. So our part-time courses, there's no fee for those. Oh, also be sure to check the info button on each certificate to see what is required. So I chose Paraprofessional 2 renewal applications. If you click the little white info button, you'll see exactly what you need to turn in for your course or credential path. Remember, even though you've added this course to your cart, so just because you've chosen a certificate and paid for the certificate doesn't necessarily mean you are finished applying. We still need you to fill out an application and upload it to your external files. So when you pay for this course, there isn't anything that takes you to an application to fill out and then you just submit it. we need you to do is to fill out the application either by using the one that's in the certification manual or using the one that's on our website. And then we need you to upload that file so that we can finish certifying you. So payment alone does not mean you have finished applying. All right, so this is the payment screen. I want to take the paraprofessional one renewal application. That's what I need to do. My 5 years are up. I need a new certificate. So I add that to my cart, and this is the screen that you're going to see. Again, your application is not actually complete until you upload your application to the external files or email it to us or mail it to us, however you want to do that. But this is how you can pay online. External files. If you click the external files button, let's say you've paid, you have your application filled out, you just don't know what to do with it. So this is what you're going to do with it. When you're ready to upload your application or you need to send us your transcripts or completion certificates from courses you've taken, you want to do it here. You're going to see a screen that looks like this. In the description, please put what files you're sending, and please, please, please upload all of your files at one time. You can upload multiple files to this one screen where it says drop files here to upload. You can add all kinds of stuff. Please submit everything at once when you are applying for a certification. If you upload multiple files, so you upload your transcript, hit submit, go to external files, and then you upload your diploma and then hit submit. There's a really good chance that something might get missed, and that's because we are serving all 120 counties in Kentucky with thousands of staff. And if thousands of staff upload multiple files, a lot of times things are going to get missed possibly. So scan everything in as one PDF and just upload it as one file. All right, requesting credits. This is what this looks like. Remember, requesting credits is for annual summations. So we would like you to use this option if you're uploading your annual summation and your learning activity reports. Friends, please only upload your annual summations and learning activity reports once a year during your region's annual summation time, and we will go over that when that is for everybody. If you upload single activities, your request will be denied. I can guarantee it. And again, this is because if we have thousands of staff upload every single activity that they do, every time they take a webinar or a training or whatever, we will have thousands and thousands of requests. So again, please scan your annual summation, your learning activity reports, and all your supporting documents like your certificates or your conference agendas as one PDF and upload it that way. A lot of times we'll have people email and say, well, I took these 5 webinars and all of them were denied. Well, that's because your annual summation was due in January, you uploaded them in September, and you uploaded them as 5 different files. Please don't do that. Just once a year as one PDF, and everything will be open. All right, so we've talked a lot about learning activity reports and annual summations, so now we actually get to see what they are and how we fill them out. All right, so learning activity reports. If you need a copy of a learning activity report, you can find them on our website, and now you can also find them in the updated certification manual. So you can go ahead and make copies of the one that's in the certification manual, and then you just have it at all times. So again, the certification manual is on our website. You can download that and print that, or you can go to the PDFs and slides portion of this course, and we've uploaded it there as well. Or we can just email you a copy. So whatever is best for you, just let us know and we'll help you out there. So your learning activity reports, these should be submitted with every learning activity that does not take place within the portal. If you take a webinar through the online portal, so if you signed up for this webinar through the online portal, you do not need to fill out an LAR. It will automatically show up on your transcript. You will see when you are finished KDLA certification basics, 1 credit. You will not need to fill out the learning activity report, and you do not need to put it on your annual summation. So these LARs should be submitted with your annual summation once a year as one PDF, and not on their own as individual files randomly throughout the year. This is your annual summation. So you can think of this as a cover sheet for all of your learning activity reports. This should be on top of all your learning activity reports, and it should be submitted with your learning activity reports along with all of your supporting documentation. And again, webinars taken through the portal do not need to be added to your annual summation. The best way to keep track of all this paperwork is to each year grab an annual summation, fill it out, and put it in a folder. Every time you complete a learning activity that's not through the online portal, go ahead and fill out the LAR and put it behind your annual summation and just add it to your annual summation. Then at the end of the year, when you're ready to submit everything, it's already finished. You don't have to take a bunch of time to fill everything out. It's just right there and ready to go. These, again, should be submitted as one PDF with your LARs. Sometimes we have people who take webinars through the online portal. They sign up through the online portal. They take them through the online portal, but they still add them to your annual summation. And this is confusing for folks. When we get your annual summation, we will check your online transcript against what you've filled out for your annual summation. And if we notice that you've already received credit in the portal, we will just write the word portal or in portal. But that's just so that you know you've already received credit for that class. Sometimes people feel like they're not getting credit for it, but you are. It's just already in there. So if you see the word portal next to your activity when you get your annual summation back, that's all that's happened is we just noticed you would have ended up getting credit twice. So I keep mentioning that you need to submit your annual summations once a year during your region summation time, and here is the schedule for that. If you're not sure what region your library is in, you can email us and we can let you know. You can check on the certification website. You can ask your regional consultant or your director, and I'm also going to show you on the next slide. So if you're in the Northeast region, your annual summation schedule is from January 1st to December 31st, and your due date is January. That's the easiest. If you're in the North Central region, your due date is in March. Southeast region, your due date is in May. If you are in the West, your due date is in September. And if you are in the South Central region, your due date is in November. And all your annual summations should be turned in once a year with all of your supporting document as one PDF. So I like to call this slide, when is my annual summation due and which region am I? So go ahead and find your county on this page. At the very top, you'll see the name of your region, and you will see when your annual summation is due, and you will see your regional consultant's name. Two of you do not have regional consultants just yet. We'll update this as soon as those people are hired. But for now, what you need to see most of all is what region you are and when your annual summation is due. You will also see the CE consultant responsible for your region. So, for example, Logan County, if you're here today, you need to turn in your annual summations last month, and I am your regional consultant. If you are not Green, how about Jessamine County? You need to have your annual summations turned in November, and your regional consultant is Alicia. So if you have any questions, you can email each person listed next to your county directly. Otherwise, if you email the main KDLA.certification email box, you can reach all three of us, but you're most likely going to get a reply directly from the consultant responsible for your county. All right, so to send us your annual summations and your LARs, you've got lots of options. You can snail mail us, and we love getting regular mail to this address. It's very long, so our address is not only listed here, but it's also on our website. You can screenshot this or take a picture with your phone or whatever you need to do. You can upload your annual summations to the online portal as one PDF with your LARs and all of your supporting documentation as one PDF. And you can also email us. So if you have your annual summation and you're not really sure how to work the portal and you don't trust the USPS mail service, go ahead and just send us everything through email. We prefer it as one PDF rather than 4 or 5. And here's all of our emails. You will reach all of us if you email kdla.certification@ky.gov. Otherwise, there are individual emails. All right. So here are some common questions. We actually have a very long Q&A section on our website that goes through quite a lot of things. But these are the common questions for confused folks that we get a lot. So if you get your temporary certificate and you're ready to start taking classes, do you have to take college classes? Well, the answer is that depends on the type of certificate you're going to need. All professional certificates need college-level library science coursework, but paraprofessional certificates do not. Paraprofessional certificate holders can take college courses if they want to. All right, you're a full-time cataloger and you never work with the public. Do you still have to be certified? Yes, you do. All full-time staff providing library services are required to be certified. Library services include things that are special skills and knowledge to be performed properly. So as a cataloger, you definitely need special skills and knowledge. You are a vital part of your library. You need to be able to provide services to the public, and you do need to be certified. Your certificate expires in July, but your annual summation isn't due until October. What do you do? Should you just wait until October to turn everything in? No, don't do that. Your expiration date takes precedence over your library's annual summation month. If you need to submit your summation early so that you can renew your certificate, please go ahead and do that. I have a temporary certificate. Do I need to turn in an annual summation? You can, but the different staff trainings and webinars that you may have taken that your library director or whatever wanted you to take, those aren't going to count toward a certificate. Remember, the temporary certificate is just a placeholder to keep you in compliance with state law until you are ready to apply for a regular certificate. When you're ready to apply for a paraprofessional or a professional certificate, you're going to turn everything in, all of your asynchronous course certificates, your transcripts, all of that stuff with a brand new application. I saw this cool webinar about basket weaving. Is it going to count toward my renewal? Possibly, only if it's related directly to your job. If you have a question if something is going to count towards your renewal credits, the 75, 50, or 100 renewal credits you need every 5 years, especially if there's a cost involved, please contact us beforehand so we can tell you yes or no. Basket weaving very well may count towards your renewal credits. If you're an adult programmer and you're looking for new program ideas, take that basket weaving class and then offer it to your patrons. Oh no, my certificate expired. What do I do now? When your certificate expires, your director is going to get a letter letting them know that you're expired. You are given a 3-month grace period to get back into compliance. If nothing happens in those 3 months, the president of your library boards of trustees is going to get a letter notifying them that they have non-compliant staff at the library and that you're getting another 3-month grace period. If you are still expired after those 6 months and you have not notified anyone, requested an extension, done anything to remedy this situation, your board president is going to be notified that your library is being fined $100. The library can pass that fine on to you, and they most likely will. If you still don't move into compliance, your library will be fined $100 every single year on the anniversary of your expiration. That 6 months is more than enough time to come into compliance. If you are struggling or having trouble, just can't figure something out, please do not just pretend everything's fine. Get a hold of us and we will help you get back in compliance. We don't want anyone out there to get in trouble or to have expired certificates or anything like that. Just contact us. How do you do that, you ask? All right, I'm going to leave this screen up. This is actually, I'm going to end my webinar on this screen because I want to give you guys a chance to either screenshot it with your computer, make it your computer's background, take a picture of it with your phone, whatever it is you want to do to save this slide. All of this information is on our webpage, but it's right here and it's very handy. If you need us for any reason, if you want to check on if a class will count, if you want to see where you're at in your continuing education journey, if you want to get our mailing address to send us library swag, just feel free to please contact us. We love hearing from you all. We do read your learning activity report summaries. We love reading those. We love contacting you all. So please do not feel like you are disrupting our day. We are here for you to help you out and to make sure you get certified and to help you learn new things, all kinds of stuff. So hopefully today's webinar was informative. I know it was a lot of information really quickly. Again, if you have any questions, contact us or you can watch the webinar again. Please download the certification manual. Everything we talked about today is inside that manual. Plus there's extra information that you might not know about. So does anyone have any questions that we can answer today?
Sarah, one of the questions I think in the chat that we haven't got to yet is if someone has a temporary certificate and they're behind on getting the required educational hours for when the 5 years ends, what should they do?
Oh, that's a good question. So how behind are we talking, like a course? If you have a temporary certificate and you haven't done anything in 5 years, that's a completely different situation than if you, oh, do you mind muting? Sorry, thank you. And that's a different situation than if, for example, you know, you're a course short. If
Yep.
you know that you're not, oh, go ahead, Alicia.
No, you go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. Rhonda, what they need to do is they need to write a letter to the certification board, and you can send that to us at KDLA. They need to explain why they have not been able to meet the requirements within those 5 years, what they're going to do to rectify the situation, and how long of an extension they will need to complete it. And we will take that letter to the certification board, and they are the ones that can make a ruling on whether the extension is requested or not. You all are also more than welcome to write a letter of support for this particular person if you would like, but that is not that's not necessary. But yeah, they usually don't like to grant extensions for temporary certificates, but they will consider it. You just got to let them know why it didn't happen and what you're going to do to rectify it. So when we take that to them, our next meeting is next week, so that might be a little too soon. And then we'll meet again in January. So, but if they don't send a extension request, then we will start sending them those letter 1, letter 2, letter 3, and by letter 3 they will be fined if they don't have their initial certification and they haven't requested an extension and it's been granted.
Callista, thank you, Alicia, for jumping in on that. That one's always a hard one to answer. Callista, for initial certification, you can turn those in whenever. So if you are ready, if you walk into a library and you need your initial certification, or you are, it's not near your annual summation time, but you suddenly are qualified, go ahead and send in your application at any point in the year. You don't have to wait till your annual summation due date. And Michaela, right now, we do not have any 10-hour courses inside of the portal. Those would have to be asynchronous courses offered by a third party right now. And oh, we do have Library Institute, and that would qualify. Yes, and that starts in January. Alicia, do you know how many credits that's worth?
Yes, we're hoping to send out the registration for the Public Library Institute for 2025 very soon, and that is worth 60 educational contact hours. So it's pretty much the same as a 3-credit-hour college course.
Perfect. Yeah, that would knock out quite a few requirements right there. All right.
Courtney, I see a question. Let's see. Would they be able to get a professional for or paraprofessional? I don't know what that was in context with. And you can unmute if you want to talk.
Yes, Rhonda, for initial certification, oftentimes it is easier for staff to get their hours just by taking the Bluegrass Community College Library courses. KDLA doesn't endorse any college or university, but it often is cheaper. I mean, anything's cheaper at a community college. And then there is the cost to consider, but again, as a reminder to people on the webinar, KDLA does offer tuition scholarships, and I encourage all of your staff, if they're taking courses, to apply for those scholarships. That takes down the cost considerably, especially if they're doing, you know, one course at a time. And oftentimes, some of those courses can be a little bit cheaper than even the asynchronous courses, depending on what you're taking. Does anyone have any other questions? If you have a complicated situation or you just have a question you don't feel like asking in the chat, please, again, remember, go ahead and contact us, and we will work with you and try and figure out your situation or help you answer any of your questions. Otherwise, I think that's it for today. So I want to thank you all again for coming to our webinar. Hopefully you feel a little bit better about certification. Hopefully you're a little less confused. Hopefully you're a little less confused. Thank you to IMLS for sponsorship of our webinar. And then you all have a great day.